So thank you all for dialing into the latest of our Brightside Talks. My name is Matt, so I'm Brightside's volunteering manager, and I also lead Brightside Connections, which is Brightside network for former mentees, and we're running this special set of webinars called Brightside Talks that are all about supporting you to think about your future, and we've put some extra ones on at this time as we know that obviously schools have finished, etc. So we're really excited about today's speaker. So as the talk goes on, if you have any questions for the speaker, then you can just write them in the chat box, and we'll have some time at the end to answer those ones. But before that, we have some pre-arranged questions which were put forward by Brightside's Youth Board to ask of our speaker today. So I'll start by asking Anne to introduce herself.
Mm-hmm. So hello, my name is Anne, and I'm a fifth year student studying at the University of Sheffield and dentistry.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, Anne. So we will get started. With the questions. Like I said, remember to type any questions you have in the question box in the chat box. So Anne, looking back on your experience of 5 years at university, do you think that university is affordable to the average person?
Mm-hmm. So I think it's hard. It definitely involves a bit of time to get your head around. You often have to make a few tough decisions, but I'd say that it's definitely doable. You often learn from your mistakes and through experience as well. So it's a good learning curve to have. I think personally, coming from a relatively low-income family myself, I was worried about finances too at the beginning, but there is a lot of support and opportunities out there for you to learn how to use your money well. In general, I'd say that going to university is an investment in itself. You invest in your career, but in terms of like paying it back, even with the interest rates that student finance has, it is really affordable. You only pay small chunks out of the income that you have from your job at the end every month or so. So for me, I can definitely see how much has been invested into my course over the 5 years to give us the clinical experience and knowledge that we need at this stage as well.
Lovely, thank you. So where should students look to find out about the financial support that's available at university?
Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of places that you can go to. There's a lot of information out there. But some of the things that I found really helpful was university websites. And this particularly will help you narrow out your choices on the university that you go to and the course that you do as well. There will be loads of grants and scholarships and bursaries that are available. And there are even competitions that you can apply to that have, financial prizes as well. So university website, you can also go on to the student finance website, and particularly when you're applying for student loans or bursaries that are available. And usually, if you're in your parents' income, they're usually able to loan out more money, and that can be quite the advantage as well. Within students' unions, usually as well, there are support services that are available, so you can ask someone on what's out there in terms of finance as well, and that's really helpful.
Cool. And this was a question that a few people put forward. Actually, it's quite a popular one. So, do you have a job whilst you're studying, and how do you think you can balance having a job at university with your studies?
Mm-hmm. So I personally don't have a set job as such. But throughout my time at university, I got paid for helping out with various events such as open days and holding events to support students. At Sheffield in particular, there's something called the Adopt Scheme, which sets to help our students and they're in high school and are considering university but unsure where to go. So I've got at those events. I'd say that dentistry can be quite all-consuming at times because it is, when they describe a 9 to 5 that you have to work for. But I know a lot of my friends have had part-time jobs as well, and they said that having set times throughout the week where you're going to be busy or have a commitment is really helpful in being able to add structure to your week and work more efficiently whilst you're studying, develop a good work-life balance as well. And time management in general is a really valuable skill to have as you grow up, and your commitments have good habits in place early on.
Cool, lovely. So next up, how did you decide which student bank account to get, and do you use any other financial support tools to support yourself?
So I, in terms of getting a student bank account, I definitely went by word of mouth, and so I picked Santander because they had a 4-year free of rail card and a really good overdraft for students as well, which comes in useful. But there are websites such as Money Saving Expert that can give you an annual update of the student accounts that are available and the perks and drawbacks of each one, which is really helpful. In terms of other financial tools, there are websites such as Quidco that you can use to get cash back on the things that you buy as well. So that can be really helpful. You just put in your card details and the cashback kind of comes in automatically if it's applicable. The other website I would recommend is the NUS website, which helps to see if there's any student discounts that are available or offers that are on for students at that particular moment in time as well.
Cool. And the final question that we have before we will open up to those that are on the call right now, what would be your top money saving tips as a student?
So definitely check whether there's student discount available. I also got NHS discount because I'm an NHS student, and there are always, often some promo codes that you can use as well. I would also definitely recommend getting a rail card. It's only about £30 per year, and that usually pays back within the first month of you going to university, just because you will be travelling quite a bit. And then also having a realistic budget that you stick to, but try and reevaluate it every 3 months or so is what I would recommend. You'll find that your financial needs vary throughout the year. So some months, such as when you start university in September or in December, when you have lots of Christmas gifts and things to buy, your expenditure will usually increase. But it's really good to anticipate your increased costs and pace yourself throughout the year, and know that things change throughout the year as well.
Cool, lovely. Thank you very much. So that brings us to the end of the formal questions. Just a reminder, if you do have anything additional to ask for Anne, you can just stick it in the chat box. But Anne, what would be your sort of 3 key takeaways that you'd like those people that have dialed in today or are watching this back later to take away from from this talk?
So I would say that it's all a learning process. You're not just there to kind of get a degree, although that is, a big part of it. You're there to learn to adult as well, I guess. So don't worry if you make your mistakes. It is all a learning process, and it does take time to get all these skills and to understand how life works in general. I'd say be proactive. There are a lot of things out there, even in terms of financial support, but support in general. And it's really important that you do kind of invest in yourself during your time at university. So check out what you enjoy and commit to other things and put in other investments, not just in your degree. And I think overall, I'd say to really enjoy university life and try and find a good, healthy work-life balance.
Awesome, thank you. So we have a couple of questions that have come in from the audience. So the first one is from Catherine, and it's about saving up before you go to university. So I'll sort of add to the question as well a little bit, actually. So firstly, do you feel like you needed to save up money before you went to university, and sort of how much do you think is sensible, and sort of what do you think are the key things to save for? So Catherine talks about saving for a house in second year, or for Freshers Week, for example.
Mm-hmm. So Freshers Week is definitely expensive. I would definitely have like an allocated amount set back for that. I think in terms of savings, in particular, I didn't feel like I needed to. I think my student loan actually covered for the expenses for most years. So yeah, I didn't feel like I had to save up. But I think if you have, fewer contact hours, or if you have a longer summer break, then I think it would be wise to, yeah.
Cool, excellent, thank you. So we have two more questions. Apologies if anyone has further questions, but I'm just conscious of time, so we'll just go with these last two that I've got in already. So the first one is sort of, what do you think is a sensible weekly budget for food?
I think it depends on how expensive your taste is for food, definitely. But I think about £20 to £25 is quite sensible to have. I think it's good to probably over budget than kind of underestimate how much you spend on food. And I find that if I end up like planning everything in advance in terms of what I'll eat and drink throughout the week, it saves me money from going out and having to buy lunch or buying that extra coffee, because I know that I've kind of accommodated for everything throughout the week.
Cool, excellent. And the final question is, one was just which university do you go to, and did your university choice kind of affect your spending budget, do you think? And then, do you commute? Did you live with your parents, or what, did you go in for student accommodation?
Mm-hmm. So I study at Sheffield, and in terms of cost, I'd say that Sheffield is quite normal in terms of living costs. It can have an effect on where you end up going and how expensive things are. But for example, if you end up going to a university in London, there's a separate student finance loan scheme that they have. So they will loan out more to you. But I think it's good to be sensible, but definitely don't limit your options because you'll worry about finances.
Okay, lovely, thank you. So thanks everybody for dialing in. We're coming to the end of the talk now. I found that really interesting. I hope that you found it really, really helpful as well. So this talk it has been recorded, and it will be going up on Brightside's YouTube channel afterwards. I'll make sure I email all of you a link. We also have a talk coming up every week for the next few weeks. Next week we have a talk on making the most of the various opportunities that university has to offer. I think Anne sort of hinted at some of those as well, but we've got another former student who did an awful lot of exciting stuff at university who's going to be talking. And then finally, so I'll send you the details on signing up for that as well if you're interested. But finally, thanks so much for dialing in. Thanks for persevering through the tech issues at the beginning, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks very much.